BNC, 100% black and brown host around the clock. Finally, news that speaks to us.
Look, it's in the rearview mirror. It's over, okay? You have to break it down this way. And I think there's probably three camps. You believe Bill Cosby did it and he deserves to be jailed. You believe Bill Cosby was targeted because he was a black man and got a harsher punishment than some white men. Or you believe that, what's the third one, Mike? I'm trying to think, what's the third one? Because I believe there's three. It's complicated. Not guilty?
The third one is he's not, well, he couldn't have done it. That was a sign of the times back then. Everybody was doing it. Or all these women can't be telling the truth.
Ricky Rose, when you look at the state of Black America, what do you see?
We got to realize and accept what we up against. We up against it all. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we got to move. That's how we got to grind. That's how we got to work. That's how we got to think. That's how we got to, network. That's how we got to come together. Because we got to understand what we up against, which is we go up against everything. And it won't change, in the short term, but we got to grind and we can't quit. We won't stop.
Over the past week, there have been numerous eyewitness accounts of black migrants being stranded in Ukraine after facing all kinds of racial discrimination at the border. How were you able to escape? And what was it like trying to get into Poland?
They were closing the train on us, but we know that, or we heard before that the trains, the upper wagons, they are for paid people. They are the ones who paid for those trains. So it was the lower wagons that was for free, and we wanted to get on the free section because we didn't have enough money. We left all our belongings, so we end up got to the train and we went to Lviv. But while we were at the border, Poland and Ukraine, it was like horrible. Like it was very tedious. We walked 6 hours or 9 hours, I believe, to get to that border, and we stayed there from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. That's the time when we got into Poland. But we didn't really face any form of racism. I personally didn't face any form of racism.
So you've got an American citizen accused of criminal activity that's going to go through the criminal justice system, which is very vague. You have us engaged in a war, ostensibly, with Russia, because that's how I see this conflict in the Ukraine. And then you have an openly gay woman in Russia who on off season plays with one of the Russian teams. So there are a myriad of issues that are impacting Brittany Grenier that concern me profoundly for her safety, for her security, and a sense of justice.
There is an ongoing debate about whether Biggie was and is still the king of New York. What can you say about that?
And I always think to myself, if there was a last unanimous or at least a consensus about who was the king, I think there was a period where, Nas was next up and he was that one. And I think after him, the next person to occupy that space so definitively was B.I.G. And I think afterwards, it was always a debate, even in terms of Jay-Z, whether he deserved to inherit Biggie's crown was still far more debatable than Biggie's reign per se. So that was a special period for hip hop when it was undeniable, especially with what was happening on the West Coast and how Snoop and Dre and others had done so much in hip hop in that time period. For somebody to represent that flag for the East Coast and to represent New York that way, it was just a really special moment in history.
BNC, 100% black and brown host around the clock. Finally, news that speaks to us.